everyone. How's it going? I'm Joe, the Kentucky Atheist. That guy's Azho, and today we have Brentley, the Punk Apostate. How's it going, guys?
Hey, how we doing?
Doing great. The dog keeps quiet. I think it's a snack time. This is my co-host, Jack.
That's awesome.
Well, while some people are just joining the stream and stuff, since it's just now, showing up on there, I'll go through a couple quick channel announcements and stuff before we get to talking. Thanks to all my channel members and everybody that's joined. Names are going across the bottom of the stream. I think that's completely up to date. It was as of yesterday. If you join or something, I will add your name on there. It's just an easy way for me to keep track of it and build onto it without having to have a whole file and type everybody's name in. I can just add a name to it. But the today, of course, we've got Punk Apostate. Next weekend, I'm working on it. It may end up not being next weekend, but the plan is next weekend to have Eric from Skeptics and Scoundrels come on. And I'm working on a few others. I'm working on maybe setting up a debate with a guy from Twitter that is not Daniel. And a few other things. Another big announcement is that our very own Robin Webster here, who helps out on so many channels, I wouldn't know where to begin. She will be talking with Neil, the 604 Atheist, on the 18th. So you guys, can you all hear that?
No, it's just a little bit. It's all good. It's really quiet.
I was wondering if you could hear the dog snoring. He's snoring. When he puts his head down, he's out.
I figured you could hear.
If he starts snoring, just say something and
I'll. Robin will be on there. Azho, he wants to get with you sometime too and talk to you. And have you done Neil 604 Atheist, Punk?
Yeah. It was a while ago. It was before I started doing. I was doing a different show at the time, but yeah, he's cool. I love Neil. I got he's on that show. Holy shit!
And it's not necessarily just creators or people with a channel or whatever. He's interested in people's deconversion stories. So anyone who hasn't done his show or whatever, interested in talking to him, his email is on his channel. Go check it out and. He would be interested in hearing your story. I think that's really about all the announcements for the channel, right, Azho? That's
the one thing I would add is this week, starting Wednesday night, hopefully about 9 o'clock, we're going to try. I'll be doing it. If Joe shows up, he does. If he doesn't, we'll probably have more fun. But we're going to try a trivia night. I don't know if we're going to do it every week, but every time I get in chat, I have many people asking when's the next trivia night. And it's not going to be a 9.5 hour stream this time either.
It has to be 9.5 hours.
Oh, fudge. I better rest up then. I'm going to start. See you guys later. I need to take a nap.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We've talked about this for some time, ever since the first one, and trying to figure out how and when and all that stuff. So we're going to give it a try this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to try and do a trivia night, and we'll see how that goes, whether we do it every week or twice a month.
There's one of them that keep asking me. There you go. Yes,
yeah.
Pinword. In honor of you, I'm going to call it Pinword Trivia.
We could.
When you make the thumbnail, that's what you got to put on it, Joe.
Yeah, I need to do that today, don't I? I'm bad at this. I'm so bad at this. You're
good.
If the trivia goes well and stuff, and a lot of people are showing up and engaging with it and stuff, I will, of course, will put more into that and maybe get prizes and stuff for people that win, or just random prizes for people that take part in it. I'm not sure yet.
Right. The first one's just going to be a dry run, see how it goes, and then progress from there. And actually, we're going to have to handicap Aunt Jer because she kicks acid trivia also. And since this is pinworm trivia, we got to make sure he wins it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we had a lot of great participants, and it's what kept me going for 9.5 hours with a sinus infection. So,
do like whose line is it anyway, and give people imaginary point values, and
right,
make it like
different things. But
the point.
This is for Punkster. All hail Bigfoot.
There you go. All hail Bigfoot. I get it now. I got it.
Yeah, he does it. It's hilarious. That's part of what I love about Brentley's show.
Could not be more confused when you guys were talking about that. I was like, what the
lost
what?
Comments, and it's like the most hilarious part of the show. Trying to figure out, well, who's saying what? Oh, wait, shit, that's not even to me. Oh, hell, Bigfoot, what the fuck is that about? What? Then I'll get a message from him on DC. I get it. I understand what it is. Oh, hell, Bigfoot.
I don't read the comments before I put them on the screen. Okay, once they go on the screen, then I read them. So sometimes it's like, which is probably
no, I'm just saying it's fun. That's what attracts me part to it, and making comments in your chat.
You always know if I'm reading the comments because I stop what I'm doing and do this.
Right. Yeah.
I stop mid-sentence and I'm like,
I really try to keep it moving so fast. I assume everybody's punks that are watching, or at least like it. So they are fast paced. We're fast paced. We got to keep going. Right. We got to move. We can't stop for something.
And if you're fast, go to adamandeve.com and put in apostate.
Get an extender so you can slow down, for her pleasure.
Yeah. And for that butt play.
That's right.
Yeah, I like
some cash on that one, Brentley.
There you go. Yeah.
Excuse the pun, but I like the plug of Adam and Eve.
Best sponsor ever.
Yeah. The with the trivia thing. See, I hate to pick just let winners win something. Maybe something special for whoever does really well or something, but I would like to, just randomly hand out things to people participating. That way we can get the engagement. More people will be, want to take part if they think there's an equal chance of winning a prize. If they even give a shit about that. A lot of people don't even care.
Yes, I don't.
I mean, do like a raffle or some type of situation, right? Like a raffle or a bingo type of situation or something.
Well, I just
$5 gift card to Adam and Eve. There it is.
I imagine starting out the the engagement. It'll be good to get 10 to 20 people or whatever, and so we could just do a name wheel thing, and every so often throughout the stream, pick a name and give away a $10 Amazon card or something like that. Just something to make people want to come and even just watch. Just an event thing where we have some fun and things of that sort. But anyway, let's get back to the subject, which is Brentley the Punk Apostate. So when did you start your channel, Brentley?
This channel, okay, so I started originally, my partner and I, we did a podcast called Unapologetic, spelled with an X, but because it was Unapologetic spelled with an X, nobody could find it. So it was it went well for a while, but we had our schedule changed, so I just had to figure out how to do something on my own because I really enjoyed doing the podcasting and everything. And so I didn't know what to do with the YouTube at first, so I kind of just made it my name. And then just about, I don't want to say 6 months to 8 months ago or something like that, I switched to Punk Apostate and been doing that ever since. And it's been working out really well. I really like it.
Yeah. So and for me, my first YouTube channel was actually me playing video games, and it was it was actually on Twitch. And then I just clipped parts of it and stuff and would put on YouTube. And that's how, I got a handle on how, the analytics work and all that. And one of the neat things with YouTube analytics is you can go in and see what terms people are searching for and stuff so that you can come up with names for things that are contemporary with what people are looking for. And so
that's cool.
This may end up actually not being the final form of whatever atheist YouTube channel I do. It may, because I've considered, broadening it into Kentucky skeptics and, maybe something like that. That's and if I start getting into doing enough content, I may do like a Kentucky Skeptics thing where I talk about like, you know, what's it called, urban legends and things associated especially with Kentucky, because we have a lot of places that are supposed to be haunted and all kinds of things, and I would like to go stay in a haunted place and go hunt Bigfoot and with Dave and trees and Azho and you know, so there's a lot of different things I would like to do, but they don't all necessarily fall under the Kentucky Atheists. So I don't know. I may end up having to pull the same thing myself and give a name to the channel that more explains what I'm actually about. I think I remember the unapologetics.
Oh yeah.
Thing. I think I've seen that before. I didn't. I wasn't familiar with your channel right away, but when I made a small channel, of course, you know, when I started out making content as an atheist YouTuber, I met a lot of people who had other channels, you know, that were either just starting or had been around and were getting going or whatever. So have you having the channel before, you probably, you know, just had to update people. I'm switching to this, and there's been a lot of new atheist YouTubers in the last year, especially. And you know, when I first went into it, I thought, is it like, are we competing for views and things? And that's not really the way to look at it. It's you know, we all have the same goal, and the more that, especially for you know, the channels that haven't gotten really large, working together towards that goal seems to be better than not. And I Killed Earl is a new member. Thank you. I will add you on there. I'll be talking to her and the rest of the Matters Now crew this or next Sunday on a like a Sunday Fundy type of thing. But I don't know why. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so the reason, if you had a membership and you don't now, it's because my channel was demonetized briefly because AdSense required me give them my ID and stuff, and it was expired, and so I had to send off for one, and it takes forever to get it, and so that's I had to send off for a birth certificate and wait on it, then send off for an ID and wait on it, and so they demonetized and shut down all my stuff, and I went, you know, I was right about where I'm at now with like 10 to 12 members, and that canceled all those and ended all the memberships and took me back to none, and so I had to start over again on that.
Damn, that's
fun stuff.
Jeez.
But do you have who would you say, if anyone, as far as like other YouTube channels or creators, or even like, you know, Christopher Hitchens wasn't a YouTuber, but who like inspired you to take part in like the activism end of things, if anyone?
It's definitely got like it's this show I really like called God Awful Movies, and it's like this team called Puzzle in a Thunderstorm, and they do like 5 different shows, I think. And they do like Scathing Atheists, God Awful Movies, Citation Needed. They do that one with the cognitive dissonance guys. And then there's another one, D&D Minus, where they play a D&D game. But they're like 3 comedians, and they watch Christian movies, and then they walk you, like in the podcast, they walk you through what's going on in the movie by explaining it, and then they make the jokes of like, you know, what's happening, why it's stupid. And then they also explain why what they're doing is harmful, why what the messaging of the movie is harmful. And it caught my attention because I was homeschooled, and I, you know, was not allowed to watch pretty much anything. Like, so most of the movies that I watched were Christian movies, and so I knew pretty much all of them, their whole catalog, when I first found the show. And so that was kind of cool. And, you know, when we were watching, we all knew, you know, Christians, we knew that they were bad movies, you know, they were cheesy and everything, but you had to get like moral points or something for watching them. I don't know. So it was really interesting. And I was like, at first I was kind of just like, oh, okay, well, they're atheists making fun of it, but it's still good comedy, whatever. Cause I just love comedy. And then it just, the messaging, I think, kind of slipped in under the radar and really got me to start thinking about stuff. And I think because of the comedy kind of sneaks it in without you getting too upset about it. You know what I mean? A show like, I think like the Atheist Experience would have been something I would have turned off immediately. Cause I'd be like, fuck that Nat guy. What the hell? Who does he think he is? You know? But something like this, where there's a lot of jokes that aren't necessarily all targeted at my beliefs or whatever, it was able to kind of make me laugh. And then I just kept listening. And then I was like, oh my God. And I was so glad that I did, because my life is like, pretty much after that, I want to say like a year after that, because it was also when Trump was running, you know, so it was like 2016. So I'm starting to look around and like see the fuckiness of all my beliefs and everything, you know. And so yeah, it just started making me question stuff. But and my partner too, she was very like epistemology-ish, like very street epistemology-ish, and just asking a lot of questions that made me think. So all those things kind of combined, and I just was like, oh yeah, this is it was all wrong. It was all completely wrong. So you know, and because the podcasting was so helpful for me, and particularly comedy podcasting was so helpful for me, that's what I want to try to do for other people. And you know, it was cool. It's just fun too, you know. It's a treasure trove of funny fundies, you know. It's just
and you know, I see a lot of similarities in you know, some of the things you talk about, and what, you know, I spend a lot of time live streaming, just talking to people now, but like my original focus was pointing out the grifts and things of fundamentalist, televangelist, these super churches and things, and you know, the Greg Locks and Kenneth Copeland's, Bob Tildon's, and Tilton, and all of those people. And so sometimes you know, I like watching your stuff, because you kind of approach it with the same like don't give a shit attitude that I had towards it, you know, like whenever I talk about those guys. And you know, I like that. One of my favorite people is I will, Azho. One of oh shit, everything just disappeared. Come back. There we go.
There is
one of
the coming for you.
Talking about like the comedic side of atheist content. Dark Matter 2525. I love those animated videos and stuff with the especially the ones with God and the angel and the little baby angel. It's those are hilarious, and I like the definitely I prefer to watch stuff that has a comedic side to it, but at the same time I do like some of the more informational stuff. But I started with like Christopher Hitchens, Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Arnraw. I started watching that kind of stuff, so I still have like a you know, a warm feeling for those things. But yeah, anymore, I love to laugh at the stuff I watch. And B.S. Lewis, who is usually around somewhere here, he makes a lot of funny stuff, and has that same kind of feel that like Dark Matter has. And I think he's onto something. If he decides to, I don't know what his intentions are. It's hard to. He's a hard read.
It's funny too, like because I was trying like for a minute there to try to do the informational thing, and I just doesn't. I feel like I'm not convinced by me doing it that way. Like I'm like, you know, I don't like some people can come off like they know what they're talking about, you know, and I don't feel like I do. That's just not that's not what I sound like. So I'll stick to the comedy thing. Say what I think, you know, is say what I know or feel like I know, and you know, if I do my best, and that's it. You know, I'm not going to try to. I don't know. I feel like I don't come off with the intellectual thing very well. You know.
The Azho, do you want to follow up with any of that quickly? I need to do something real quick. If you do.
Oh crap! The pressure's
you don't
on.
Have to. I mean,
no, I'm good. I am good.
You're the party host, man. You got to, you know, you got to get us a party, dude.
I mean, why do you not have guests, or have you had guests on your shows before? I guess I've never even thought about that until just now.
I have.
I've never seen you as singular.
Right. Yeah. No, I do stuff on my own, but I do try to have guests every so often. Like I'll get Secular Rarity. He'll come on. Once every
SR. Oh, Doug, I asked you about getting him.
Yeah.
Did you email him, by the way?
Did I think I might. I think I messed. So I might have to do it again. Sometimes
Bullshit.
It takes a while to get back.
Yeah. And that was Punk Apostate. Thank you for coming. See you next time.
Shit. Okay.
And I've actually got a follow up to that. Once you get done with that question, there was a point to it, I guess. But I forgot SR. Duh.
Yeah, and I have had R and Raw. I've had let's see, I've had no illusions on a couple times with them. Although I think that was the podcast. Now that I think about it. But you know, I've had different people on. God, now I'm like blanking. Of course,
I'm wanting to get.
It's like me. I blanked until like you start saying it's like, oh God, yeah, I'm a dumbass. Now the follow up question is, if you could invite anybody, to your channel and they'd say yes regardless, who would you be your ideal guest? To have theist, non-theist, it doesn't even matter.
Shit, that's a good question.
And you say, and you asked me, do I got to prepare for this? No, we're just going to chat.
Yeah, right. Well, I was on this show called Left at the Valley for about a year, and they did interview. It was like an interview show. Like they did the first half was just like news and everything. And then the second half was an interview. So I met a lot of people that way. I met like Tracy Harris and just Aryan Raw through that, and a Secular Rarity, all these different people through that show. But the one person I never got to meet was Matt Dillahunty. So it would be kind of cool to meet Matt Dillahunty. I was on a couple different shows with Seth Andrews back in the day. But
mine would either be Matt or Seth Andrews, bar none. And I like Aryan Raw, but I don't want to take away, Joe's fantasy guest or ultimate guest.
Yeah. Oh, he's cool. He'll do it. Like he doesn't, he just.
Well, what I'm wanting to do with Aryan is I'm wanting to, because I did. I don't know if you're aware, you may not be, but we did a book giveaway that was kind of related to Dave Warnock, and he's struggling with ALS and needed a caretaker and stuff, and so. We did the book giveaway, but then we kind of used that to give some awareness to his situation and try and drive some people to his Patreon or his website. But I would like to kind of do a book giveaway with Aryan, and because I love his book, The Foundational Falsehoods of Creationism. Excellent book. And if you get the audio version, he narrates it. And Aryan has, a magical voice, and he doesn't speak things into existence, but close. I would like to have him come and like do an interview, and then him like announce the winner of a signed copy of his book. And so I'm kind of waiting until I can get that set up and try, because that's what I want to do if I have him on. For me, that's one of the most influential books as far as young Earth creationists that I've read. And Aryan is one of, he's a major inspiration for why I wanted to start a channel and why I approach some of the things the way I do. And just in case, just for anybody who doesn't know, including you, Brentley, like I live in an area where it's all young Earth creationists.
No,
there's,
really?
Eastern Kentucky is all young Earth creationists. I say all, and of course I don't mean literally all, but pretty much everybody. There's probably 98% of the people in my area are religious, and then 90% of those are young Earth creationists. And so someone like Aryan Raw who talks to the top of people that I talk to, of course I grabbed hold of that, and I just like his approach. I like the he spent so much time saying the same things over and over that the truth is what the facts are, and if you can't show it, you don't know it. The things he says that just are easy to take in. And that's why I want to take the approach of, yeah, we can sit here and if, someday if somebody wants to hear me make a scientific argument for evolution or whatever, I don't care to do that. But for me, it's more of we can look at these things and just on the surface of them, you can see that they're absurd and just bad ideas. And so while I don't care to get deep into things, and sometimes depending on who I'm talking to, I go a little further, but we don't even have to do that stuff to show how absurd some of this stuff is. We don't have to get into all the science of why there wasn't a worldwide flood. It's obvious there wasn't one, We don't have to go down genetics alley and talk about why it's impossible that Adam and Eve are that everyone came from these two people, or that everybody came again from the boat. We don't have to do all that.
Yeah, 2 different times.
But
they populated the planet.
Yeah, and I don't care to expand, into those things, but it's just not. I don't think it's always necessary. We have, the atheist community is growing so fast, and people like Matt Dillahunty, Brandon over at Mindshift, and several others can make these intellectual, philosophical arguments and things better than I'm ever going to pull off with all the practice in the world. So not the, so I don't want to come on and try and be another Matt Dillahunty. Not that I could if I wanted to.
I don't think you can be that pissed off all the time. And I like that. To be honest, he's been doing it so long, I can't blame him. Yeah. But when you're talking about R and Raw, my not ultimate, but something on my bucket list is to eat hot wings, just to see how hot.
Oh, I watched that.
Around here, I'm like the hot king, literally, and
gives me heartburn just thinking about it. Oh, jeez.
Thanks, I Killed Earl, for gifting 5 memberships. I can't see who got those memberships, but welcome to all the new members. I can tell you.
That's that song, right? Yeah, that's the Dixie Chicks. That's awesome.
Andrew, Maga Grey Wolf, Dr. Tip, Michael Narum, and Delicious Danish are the recipients of that. Thanks, Earl.
Just real quick.
I don't care what Daniel says about you, Earl. You're okay in my book, Earl.
Right. That I Killed Earl, that song by the Dixie Chicks, it's awesome. There's my favorite band is No Effects, and he's in another band called Me First and the Gimme Gimmies, and they did a punk version of the Earl song that the Dixie Chicks did.
I'll tell you a story about awesome. No Effects.
No shit, really? Hell yeah, dude.
Well, also another philosophical channel would be Rabbit Atheist. I definitely give a shout out to him, even though he's a smaller channel.
Yeah,
I love listening to him also.
Hey, I love his story just because he's a former pastor that went through the recovering from religion program, and amazing story Ed has, and you can tell that he spends a lot of time thinking about how he wants to convey it. And that's important, and he just does such an awesome job of it. I really like Ed's channel, and I need to have, he comes on sometimes, but I need to set up just a one-on-one with him.
Well, it's going to be a minute because he was talking about this yesterday. Again, he's tried 2 live streams and they've crashed. So he doesn't know if it's his hardware or the Wi-Fi, which the Wi-Fi would be my guess.
I want to try something real quick. When we're going to try it live here, it may completely fall apart. Now that I have adjusted some of the things, let's try one of these backgrounds and see if.
Oh, the top of your head is gone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
There is Jesus. It's on your head.
Stay really still. Don't move. Just don't blink.
Yeah.
Just stay.
Well, it's weird because even in StreamYard, it's a couple seconds behind. So.
You're really out of sync now.
Do the things I did a second ago, and it
that would drive. I can't think. Oh my god! When I can't. I'll lose my mind if that starts to happen.
Yeah.
Shit.
Thanks, PC, and be careful.
Well, I think that's part of my computer thing, but I was having some problems with the wireless, but I need a better computer too, or at least a video card than the one I'm using. Anyhow, though, back on track. So yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a large portion of the atheist community and people who consume atheist content that like the stuff Matt Dillahunty does and the intellectual things that are on there. But for me, I found there's also a huge portion of people that just want to be talked to like normal people, and I can do that.
That's it. Yeah.
So that and again, when I started, my thing was exposing harm and showing the grifts of televangelists and people like Greg Locke and
Greg Locke's so
Fuckface down in Tennessee, Steven Anderson.
Oh God, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. Just showing the awful things that leaders of the Christian community are spreading as the Christian word. And not only do I think like, those grifts and the awful hate speech and stuff is bad, for everyone, at large, but I think it reflects poorly on the Christian community itself. And, I don't have a problem with believers. I have a problem with their belief. I don't choose that, but I have a problem with fanatics and fundamentalism begets fanaticism, just to use a fun Bible word, so we can beget and begotten, begat.
Be gone. Be gone with that shit.
Yeah. But I think that there's a lot of different perspectives out there, and I felt like there was that my attitude and the way that I expressed myself growing up in this area was something that other people may want to watch. I didn't expect to really even, I never expected to even hit 700 and some odd subscribers. Like, I'm happy to be here. And
I think it's good because, like, a lot of it's like I hear a lot of these shows, and I'm always wondering, like, where the more Southern type folks are in the atheist community, because there's literally none. You know what I mean? I really don't hear anybody talking about stuff from a rural kind of perspective of being, and those are the people that I want to hear from, because I'm like, how do you survive out there? I mean, I'm in Florida, so I have that, but I feel like it's different in rural Kentucky and shit. You know what I mean?
It's definitely different.
I bet, yeah. so yeah, I think it's really interesting. I always want to hear everybody's perspective, though. I'm always fascinated by how different we all are, and I just want to hear how what we're all doing. It's awesome.
Well, whenever you look at take Ken Ham, for example. He built this big boat bastard down.
Oh yeah, that's in Kentucky. Oh
yeah,
I forgot about that.
That's like 45 minutes down the road from me. And
even people from Florida wouldn't go that far, I don't think.
No.
I mean, come on now. I don't know. Okay, but we're pretty dumb. All right.
Why do you think Ken Ham chose Kentucky? And why do you think? Because I mean, the man's from Australia, and I get that he wasn't very popular and had some falling out with some people in Australia. But why would he pick a rural area of Kentucky to build this thing that was supposed to teach the truth and stuff? There's a reason that he put it out in the middle of nowhere. There was really nothing there in that town at all. No reason to even stop there. They had to redo the interstate exits and everything because of that boat, because it was going to bring people there, and nobody stops there because it's a hole in the wall town. Right. There's a reason he chose Kentucky on top of the tax rebates and Kentucky taxpayers that took place there. There's other reasons, and it's because he would be accepted here, and while people do go there every year to protest, that place on its on the anniversary of its opening, but
they do that
every year. He knows that it's not going to be a constant thing in the middle of Kentucky.
Oh, I didn't realize they did it every year.
Oh,
it's a yearly thing.
Yep.
Good.
I'll be there this year.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. You're right. 45 minutes worth it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've decided not to go in. I'm not going to pay to go in there.
Right.
I'm not giving money for him to indoctrinate more children and rip off Kentucky taxpayers. So, but I am going to go to the protest, and I'll probably make some content focusing on the other activists that are there and talk about maybe, because there's a lot of the protests, you'll have a lot of people protesting the place, but then there's a lot of Christians that gather too to tell atheists that, we're not atheists. We just like to sin and all the nonsense they say.
Right.
But that's my favorite.
There's been plenty of atheists that have already paid for it and visited, the Ark already.
Ember, hey, Ember, I expect we're going to work this out, because I know there was a talk about you visiting Robin or whatever. And if we can work it out, I would like you to come visit around that time so that we could all go to the Ark thing and do it together. And Azho, you're welcome too, of course. We haven't worked on the details of any of this yet. It's all been, I plan to go, and that's about as much as I've planned.
You got to go to the gift shop on the way out, find something that's, relatively close to the ticket price, and steal that shit. Steal. That makes money. And it's just, breaking even.
Oh, yeah.
If I get arrested I got a parking counter.
Atheist being thieves.
That's so funny.
I get arrested for shoplifting from God.
Dude. Oh man!
Instead of getting thrown in prison, you'll have to work at the Creation Museum for a year.
Right? Oh God, man!
Kentucky cops would not be amused. They'd probably beat you up for that.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's probably a good point. But you'd definitely get in the Friendly Atheist blog. I think atheist arrested for stealing, for shoplifting at the Kentucky. That's awesome.
I would rather go there and just drop trowel and shit in the floor. Would be more fun for me.
That would make it worse.
That would make it worse
for you. Ray Comfort's going to show up and say, "Have you ever told a lie? Have you ever stolen?" And he can't say no, because Ham's going to say, "Yes, he has."
Ray Comfort, man, is something else.
He cracks me up. I love
that. Aaron has actually just released a video talking about the 10 scientific facts. That's all in that video that Ray did.
That
I covered months ago. Of course, he does a better job of it, but especially some of the evolution parts of it. Well, just where he talks about like the behemoth and the description and how it could be an elephant or a hippo and all those different things. I mean, here's one of the things I concentrate on is, okay, where everyone's aware that you can't really make a truth statement that there is a God, but you also can't say 100% that there isn't, because we can't evaluate gods we don't know about, and and just by the this is a bad word for it, but by the nature of the issue, we can't. You want to say he's timeless, spaceless, and all this, then we can't. There's no way to look at that. So, is it more probably true that this thing we can't look at, had dinosaurs walking around with people, or have we done science and we can figure out that what's probably the case here? Now we know that dinosaurs didn't exist with man, and that's a fact. It's not. There's no question about any of that, but it's such a weird thing. It's like since for some reason when I talk with apologists, it seems like since I can't absolutely say 100% that there is no God, that I'm supposed to say there is a God. And I don't think that because it's skewed towards there's probably not one. I mean, that seems to be the case anyway. That the conclusion I've came to is that all that stuff's most likely not true. The Christian God for sure doesn't exist. Just to piss off any Christians that are here.
That's what I was going to say. Like, there are certain ones that I feel like we can say, like an ambiguous deistic, did it create everything and then disappear or die? Yeah, sure. We can't say anything about that. Right. But some of the gods that people have put forward almost like they almost prove themselves to be wrong just by the characteristics alone, by the criteria set. But they're going to move the criteria anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But
let me ask you a question about making content. So when, and I'm sure you've had this happen. Christians come into your videos and say, "Oh, the curse words, and you would be doing good, if you just didn't use curse words and you didn't talk about this and that." And it's like, at first I was like, okay, I'll try not to cuss to make the Christians happy, and I can do this content without cussing or whatever. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Fuck them. Like I'll say whatever I want to say. Like, this is my channel. The videos aren't marked for kids. It's not for kids. If I want to say that, your God's a fucking douchebag and can, kiss my ass, like, that's what I'll say. Like, it's,
I would find it hard to make videos like that without cussing. To me, it'd be like, not cussing during sex. If it ain't good, you ain't cussing, you better not be doing it. Same thing with videos. No. The more you cuss, the better it gets.
If I have a theist guest, or if I'm speaking to theists, of course I try to be, I try to be empathetic to their idea, but like at the same time, well, when I'm talking to theists, I tone it down quite a bit, because I want to get to the core of what they believe and stuff, and we're never going to get there if they're worried about, me saying hell or shit, and so I do try to, censor myself a little bit when it comes to that stuff, but like when I'm just making content or like these live streams, are 99% of the people here are atheists, and I make these videos like this to introduce atheists to other atheists and to grow the community. So I'm not concerned about the feelings of Christians right now. It's not my focus. So I feel like in that case, it's best to be myself, and myself is a cussing son of a bitch from Eastern Kentucky. So, you get a lot of theists though telling you not to cuss and stuff.
Yeah, well, and I kind of do it on purpose too, because I don't want to get like mass reported by these assholes. And they're the type of people that they get, if I respond to their comments and then they get mad, then they'll just report the channel, So I'm just like, I'll just swear. I mean, I already swear anyway, but I don't tone it down because I'm like, good, it'll weed them out, they'll fuck off then. Cause I don't need, a bunch of assholes in the chat and shit, like, fucking with everybody trying to have fun.
This asshole will always be in your chat, buddy. I don't care what you do to get rid of me.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is, even if you stop cussing and you are perfectly, the gentleman, they'll find something else to bitch about. Exactly. And then you appease that, then it can be something else, and pretty soon you're going to be a theist again.
Dude, they can't make themselves happy. There was a movie that just came out where it was like about the what was it? It was like Jesus's birth or whatever, and it was a musical. And they couldn't even handle that. Like, they made too light out of the Jesus story. They had people singing and stuff. This is an important story. You shouldn't be putting that with singing. And it's like they can't even make themselves happy. Like even when the content or whatever they're making content for these people, they hate it. They're like, nah, you didn't do it right because it wasn't exactly my fucking interpretation of my doctrine, of my denomination, of my religion, whatever. It's like, fuck it. Why does anybody even try to make anything for you people? I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's if you're not echoing the thing they already believe, and it's funny because one of the things that I want to eventually do whenever I can get more theists to come and talk is not argue with them. I want them to tell me what they actually believe. Like, I don't give a shit about your arguments. I've heard them. Like, I know your arguments as well as you do. And so I don't want to sit and go over the same old arguments that have been done on debate channels and call-in shows and every other atheist has pointed at. Instead, I want to talk about what you personally actually believe and why you believe it, like kind of like that street epistemology approach we were talking about earlier. And I want to kind of combine that at the same time with the way I do stuff. And in that, of course, you know, you have to be, you know, kind and you know, kind of go to where they're at anyway, you know. And so because I contend that theists, that no two of them believe the same thing. And and for me, that plays back into the divine hiddenness argument. Like, shouldn't there be some standard idea of God that is shared amongst people? And there's not. And there's not for a reason, because there's not a God.
Right. There's no way to put up the measuring stick to be like, oh, you're right. Yours is more real than mine. My interpretation is more real. There's no method to be able to demonstrate that anybody's more accurate than anybody else. Yeah. So they just end up splitting off.
And you know? Every Christian you talk to, too, it's always, well, we don't do that in my church. Well, we don't do that, and I don't say those awful things, and I don't hate the LGBTQ community, and it's not me doing those things. It's never any of the Christians you talk to. It's always those other Christians that aren't really Christians. And you know, of course, you know, Christians are notorious for the no true Scotsman fallacy. Like, that's what's going on here? Should go to TikTok channel, Danny. Who am I needing to block?
I think you're talking about Daniel. They're just talking in general.
Oh, yeah. Well,
she said I have a resident, actually ex-resident theist.
Yeah.
According to Joe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I think actually I don't know if he took the post down or not, but he's doubled down on it and defended it like 5 times. And actually, he ended up copying and pasting it into what we were talking about. So he just posted it again. And I just don't. So just to let everybody know what's going on, because nobody but me and Az and Robin really know about this. But Daniel frequents my show, and he posted some QAnon fucking saying that the LGBTQ community is grooming kids, and that they're trying to normalize pedophilia, and
oh yeah,
like I get that, like, Christians have bad ideas, but this isn't a Christian thing. This is spreading hurtful propaganda that's
disgusting is what it is.
Yeah. And I tried to point out to him like, I explained it to him and said, please just take it down. Like, I want to be able to talk to you. I like talking to you, and I can't do it if you're posting stuff like that. I mean, I'm not going to bring, you know, somebody on my channel that's out there posting hurtful things to any group of people. But, like, I mean, there's several members of the LGBTQ community that are my friends and that frequent the show, and it's not right to do anyway, but I definitely can't be any part of it, you know, with that personal connection. So that, I don't know, it's a mess. As of right now, I imagine Daniel will be no more around here, but I haven't really got a chance to dig back in and see what was said and stuff. But I can't, you know, that was the nail in the coffin for that. It's funny how you live near Ken's Park from the Native Atheist, a $10 super chat. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, it's funny because with the right resources to be able to move around and make content about some of the things I'm close to, I could really show some interesting stuff. But I want to, you know, go out and film, you know, some people in the community and talk to the actual individuals around here, so I can quit strawmanning them, you know, whenever I talk about the people of Eastern Kentucky. But
so if you don't show up for a few weeks, you got lynched.
Well, I mean, I hate to generalize. Yeah, I know. I hate to generalize anyone, but it is.
Welcome to the Asshole Show.
But that would be awesome, though. I'd love to see like you going around and and like have the camera and like asking, like doing the street epistemology thing, man. That'd be so interesting.
Yeah. The Dinosaur Adventureland. I won't be going there either.
Is that
again, I feel like Kent Hovind needs to explain some things, and his explanation I don't think is going to make it any better. So I won't be covering Kent Hovind or talking to him or giving him a platform or anything. Kent Hovind, I'll tell you, he's
too many people already doing that.
Yeah,
he was literally like one of the like my when I was homeschooled, like we watched Kent Hovind videos as my science class.
Yeah. Well, that's something that you hit on earlier that I wanted to bring up. And I don't think a lot of people are aware how far religion has its talons sunk into homeschooling and homeschooling content. One of the big things that Answers in Genesis is doing right now is promoting their homeschooling courses that they want you to use at home, that teaches that the Bible is the literal truth and all that. And I think religion has found a gray area where they can get kids while they're young, indoctrinate them, teach them their lies, and have followers later. And I really hate that that's allowed to happen. If you want to teach your kids theology at home and you want to sit and read the Bible for 8 hours a day to your kids, go for it. But if you're going to be allowed to teach them the things they need to know to function in the world, again, this should be limited to content that is approved for public schools, even if it's used at home. And if you're going to take part in some religious homeschooling stuff, I just feel like it needs to be something that's controlled a lot better, because I feel like it's kind of child abuse to teach kids lies as the truth. Like, you're
setting them up to fail. I feel like we need a kid's bill of rights. That's what we need. We need a children's bill of rights that says that they have to get a good education. You, the parent, can't say that they can't get vaccines. They can't get a good education. And, because the other thing is it breeds abuse. If nobody's checking on your kid, the people at church don't fucking count because they don't care. They're like, oh, sparing the rod is terrible. It's a good job. The good black guy there. Okay. I'm sure he deserved it. So it's just a terrible system. As far as like, I mean, I know that you can do homeschooling right, but the amount that happens is so like low. It's unreal. Yeah. Like there's so much easier to be awful at it than it is to be awesome.
I mean, I think there needs to be, like, whenever you're talking about, oh, I want to homeschool my kids, I think the first question that they need to answer is why. Like, okay, why are you choosing homeschooling? If it's because you want to teach them things other than, like, I don't want the school teaching them all that science. I want to teach them God instead. I think that's a problem. Mm-hmm. If you want to homeschool your kids because you're, scared of violence and guns and all that, because that's a reasonable thing to fear for your children. I'm scared every day when my kids go to school. Because
or if you like have a job where you move a lot or something like that, like I totally get that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's a good one from Amber. There is an international agreement about children's rights. The USA is the only country that hasn't signed. Imagine that. Imagine that.
It's the parental rights to abuse your children. It's like,
Jesus. And somebody said, or Azho there said some Prager FU, but talking about
that's good. I need to make that.
Talking about Prager though, it's like, again, we have schools that are teaching Prager University content as fact. And, while some things, I've never seen anything that's not straight, bullshit from them, but I imagine they have some stuff that they cover at least close to right. It's hard to tell because
it's all like where it's hard to say if it's right, but it's like they leave out things that don't that don't work with their worldview. So it's
yeah.
or just spin things weird, like the Columbus one where he was like, oh, they were like, they saying like, you enslaved people and everything, and he was like, yeah, well, we could have just murdered them, so slavery is better than murder, right? And they're like, that's in a kid's video, that was for kids. And it's like, also those little kids are like, yeah, you're right, murder is slavery is actually better than murder, so I guess Columbus was cool, let's keep celebrating him as if he was a good dude. It's insane. Like, what the so confusing. But yeah. You know who did a great video with that was Forrest Valkai.
Oh yeah, I watched that. Yeah, excellent.
Awesome.
I love Forrest. He's
so good.
He's one of my favorites.
So thorough.
Yeah. and he, even though he is, especially when him and Erica Gibbon get together, like they just talk on and on and on for hours and hours, but I can listen to every bit of it because I just like his enthusiasm, and you can see his passion, and that he not only is conveying the information, but he loves doing it. And that makes it so much easier to take in. Like when you can tell that the person's enjoying what they're doing and they really care about it. Like those kind of things just make it so much better. And is, one of my shortcomings actually, because I have a problem like conveying feeling into things. I'm more of a matter of fact person. And it's like, sometimes I need to, get upset when I don't. What was I going to say there? I just seen something that, where did it go? Anyway, I don't know, but like, I think, and this is something I hit on whenever I talked with Neil the other night on his show, is that it really bothers me that they're still pushing to try and teach religion in the science classroom. And I mean, again, I don't care what you believe. Like, I don't care, but like when we're talking science, theology is not science. And I remember what I wanted to ask you. Sorry, everybody. My ADD is getting to work here. I know what I wanted to talk about. So I seen this funny thing, and I want to pose this question to both of you, actually. But I seen a post on Twitter, which, be scared because who knows what's on Twitter. But somebody said atheists talk an awful lot about how they think the Bible promotes slavery and that God's pro-slavery. So why are they not scared that Christians will try to enslave them? And think about it for a second. Because my answer was one word, and I just said yes. I said, yeah, I think that given the opportunity, if Christians thought they had the power to do that, I think it's a possibility. I think that Christians would enslave a whole group of people. I mean, they've done it before.
I mean, look at
the only problem with doing that group, what denomination, and how would they do it? Because eventually, if they enslaved everybody, they'd have to fight each other to try to get each other to believe exactly like the other.
I'm not saying it's practical. I'm just saying, like,
right.
I'm just saying that Christians, and not your.
Can you imagine the Pentecostals won that war? We'd all be jumping.
It's not like, I mean, whenever we're talking about slavery in the Bible, the whole point that it's there tells you that it's not beyond them to do that. Like,
right.
So, and I do agree that post Antebellum South, that there were many Christian abolitionists, and in both Europe and the United States, Christians were using the Bible then to say slavery is bad, which they used it to say it was good before, but not subjective at all, though.
Yeah, it's kind of something that probably shouldn't even be in the conversation, because if you're both using the same book to be like
the
yes and no to slavery,
right?
Yeah, it's like, and to be fair, the people that were pro-slavery actually did have the they kind of had the higher ground given the text, and I think they knew that. That's why you can look at the secession speeches, and they're very clear about being like, here's the Bible verse why we should be allowed to own these people, and it, that's why it's like when people say that like Christians, that they don't believe in slavery, it's like, just look at the secession speeches, man. We can see what they were saying at the time.
Yeah.
And they were citing it.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
They wrote stuff down.
Whenever I say the Bible promotes slavery, the response I usually get is, no, Christians were at the head of the abolitionist movement. Yes, okay, fine. I'll give you that, but that doesn't mean that they didn't promote slavery before. Like,
right. That's just because everybody was a Christian. Like, that's like, you know, it was just like 99% Christian everywhere. So it doesn't matter what you believe, they were, you know, whether you're for it or against it, you're Christian.
So talking about Bible content, the Bible has this an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If your hand offends you, cut it off. If your eye offends you, pluck it out, right?
Yeah.
But then they say, like, immediately after that, you know, love thy enemy and turn the other cheek. And it's like, okay, which is it? And how do you decide which one applies? Like, whenever I tell people, like, you know, the Bible was very influential in my decision to become an atheist. Well, not decision, in me becoming an atheist. I don't think you decide beliefs or lack of beliefs. I think they're you either believe something or you don't, because you can't choose to believe something and you can't choose to not believe something. Now you can choose to go find the information to change that belief if you think it's out there, but you can't say, like Christians tell me all the time, you need to repent and this and that. Do you think I can just decide to believe in God today? Like, do you think I can sit here and explain to you all that shit's not true and then say, yeah, well, I'm going to believe it anyway, even though it's apparently not true? I'm going to believe in God just to be safe. And this whole idea of I only want to believe in God because that way I won't go to hell. Like, that's not what the teachings of the Bible say. But there's so many people that think that's the only reason. And they say, well, what if you're wrong? Like, what? Okay, if I'm wrong and a God does exist, then if I'm going to believe in that God just for fear of punishment, is that really the type of worship that God's wanting? Like, just fear? Like, and, you know, maybe you can make the argument in Christianity that's God doesn't want your worship. He wants your fear. Like, but I mean, you could definitely make a case for it. But, you know, and things in the Bible, though, it's like, going back to Exodus again, though, you know, we have the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. And then immediately after, kill fucking everybody around you. Like,
right.
I want you to kill all those other countries, and don't covet, but you can keep the little girls if you want them. Like,
yeah.
Don't lust, don't covet, don't commit adultery. You know, don't rape people would have been a nice one, or don't own people would have been a good one. But, you know, that's apparently asking a lot.
That's too far. Yeah, that's just too much.
It had to be 10.
It really kills me when they make the moral argument. They're like, hey, we can't tell if anything's right and wrong at all if my God's not true. And it's like, and they always bring up the Nazis. They're like, the Nazis wouldn't be bad then. And it's like, oh, so that's how you know genocide is bad? Oh, the thing that God did like 2 chapters into your fucking book? Really?
Yeah.
And that's how you know? Like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I get so tired of hearing atheists have no way genocide. To their morality, or no place to ground their morality, because if there isn't a God, they can't ground it. And it's like, okay, first of all, you could ground it just, I mean, if we're going to satisfy their stupid argument, you could still like ground it in biology, evolution, genetics. You could get into sociology, even ground it in sociology. I think evolution probably gives the best explanation, though. But anyway, that aside, like, who gives a fuck? Like even if I don't ground my morality in something, does that mean I can't be moral? And like, no, it doesn't. And even if I don't ground it in anything, what does these philosophical arguments like that, what does that do to prove that your God exists? Your God that you're not wanting to be too precise about, or call the Christian God, because we can't do that, because you know that's horse shit. So you're gonna argue for this for this God that's vague and weak. And like, what does that argument do to prove that your God, it's true that your God exists? And it does absolutely nothing. And it's so easy to get caught up and miss that point, because it's like, you're so busy defending yourself, because apologists have taken on this thing where they want to attack atheism and atheists and just say, well, you're inconsistent and you this and that. But at the end of the day, it does nothing for the argument. Like, it doesn't take it anywhere. And that's why, like, I really don't like getting into the philosophical stuff, because even if you prove that I'm full of shit and stupid and make me look dumb and all those things, you can do all that. And it's pretty easy to do. I'm not that smart. You can do all those things, but it does nothing to prove that a God exists. So what have you accomplished? You've made a fool of me. I mean, like, so what? That's I do that on my own.
Well, and I always just try to point out the emotional manipulation of it all, because that's all it is. Because really, they're saying, "But do you want to live in a world where, like, somebody doing extreme harm to like all those people that have hurt you and harmed you? That's not even wrong. It's just your opinion that it's wrong. So you better believe in a God, because then it's objectively wrong, even though it's not, because everybody believes in a different God, and everybody believes that their God is the one that has decided what is moral. And if everybody believes in a different God that gives us all morality, then we're back to fucking square one."
Yes,
all, like,
exactly.
Everybody's just subjectively saying that they think their God is the one that gives us morality. And even within the same God, everybody has different interpretations of the same God. So it's even more subjective. It's ridiculous. It's the most absurd argument. So it's too funny. Well, I like moral philosophy. I'm just fascinated.
I asked this question in a Twitter space the other day. One of the guys, it was a room full of Christians and me. And there was like 21, 22 Christians at the peak of it, and me. And a couple of them were talking about, oh, well, now my family does practice that the women have to wear head coverings and this and that. And I'm like, well, I think that's a little extreme, but okay. I wasn't there to argue Christianity. We were talking about modesty, actually. And and I said, now, since you practice head coverings, do you think that men who don't force their women to cover their head, do you think that they're sinning? Do you think that what they're doing is wrong? And it's like, again, there's as many ideas about what Christianity is and what people believe as there are Christians. And so trying to show them without actually bringing up the word subjective or objective or absolute or any of that, because as soon as you say that word, they go into argument mode. Trying to make that point without actually making that point, trying to say like, don't you realize that most other Christians don't do that? And do you think, because if you get into, like, especially Christianity, it's a small portion of the world. And then you want to go into Christians that think their wives should cover their heads. That's a really small number of people, because it looks kind of like Islam, and Christians don't want to look like that. And or they're, Mennonites and the Amish, of course, do that. But the
just as bad. They don't want to look like those either.
Right. Not it's not for the same reason though.
Right.
It's not to cover yourself, which Christian head coverings in Christianity is a thing. It's about modesty. They want their women to cover themselves. And they were actually making the argument for this by saying that women who who dress a certain way are responsible for adultery and the lust of men because they dress that way, like blaming it on the women. And I was like, I had to kick in there, and I was like, wait a minute, you're responsible for your own thoughts and feelings. No one else is. Like I don't care if, there was a parade of fucking naked women running around me. I'm honest and faithful to my girlfriend, and I wouldn't engage in that. Now, would I notice that there's beautiful naked women running around? Sure. but you know, like who doesn't like to look at beautiful things? But you get into what one thinks is beautiful and what one thinks about it, and it's like your whole argument. I don't know. It's like they like to play both sides of the fence. Like they want to be subjective when it's convenient to be subjective, but then claim objectiveness, you know? And it's like sometimes confusing.
It's like they don't get the difference. I swear half the time I'm just like, I don't think you even understand. Like, what do you, that's why I constantly have to ask them, define objectivity, like define objective. Because I don't think that we're working with the same word here, because you keep bouncing back and forth, just like you're saying, you know, it's like, well, we believe this, that, and the other. And then you can't sit there and say, well, we believe, and then say that it's objective. How do you do that? Like, what are you doing?
And with that we believe thing, it's always one small group of the small group, you know, and it's like, it's not we believe, it's you and your friends believe, and the majority of Christians don't hold that belief. It's almost always that thing, and that's kind of where you get the, you know, I'm not part of the Christians that do that. They are, and they're not real Christians, and that's why you get that, because they all believe different shit, and it's like, you know. I live down the road from a place that, you know, thinks it's good to let snakes bite each other, you know, and, you know, other churches think snakes are evil, you know, so it's like
kind of the evil people got the higher ground here. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know,
there's so much of there's just so much of it that is absurd when you apply the least little bit of scrutiny. Like, you don't have to get deep into it to find out that it's a silly argument. Like, and you know, they like to say these things that sound good. One of them is, oh yeah, God created Adam and Eve and there was no death in the world, and you know, but we know that plants are living things now, and they didn't know that then. So even if you claim every body and every animal was a vegetarian, which clearly they weren't, because there's biological reasons that you can prove that's not true. But anyway, like, even if that's the case, like, plants are living things, and they didn't know that when the Bible was written, and it's obvious.
Right.
You know, in the Old Testament especially, it's obvious that some of the writers didn't know the earth was round. It's you know, but we know better. Leviticus goes on about cleanliness, and that you know, you can't sleep with a woman that's on her period, and you can't you know, she's unclean and needs to go stay here for 7 days, and all this stuff. And they try to say, oh, they knew about germs and stuff, but it's obvious they didn't. And it's like it's
you only get germs when they're on their period.
Well,
that's all the time germs are there.
He lists some other things that apply to that too, talking about like leopards and you know, people who are ill and things like that. Like, they talk about those things, but like the answer, the part they always leave out about the going and washing yourself before God and all this shit, the thing they leave out though is, before you do any of that, you need to go sacrifice 2 pigeons. And it's like, okay, that's not part of cleanliness or hygiene.
No, and the hand cleaning that they're talking about, the ceremonial hand cleaning, they're not even washing their hands. They're like dipping their fingers, and then they like have it, like they let it drip down. Like, it's just a ritual thing. It has nothing to do with cleanliness.
Right. And that's the point.
No,
it's a ritual that happens to, you know,
to look similar, right? Like they can use it, right?
The wording of the Bible is that, you know, the way that they explain some of these things is that you've taken in bad air, you know, because there's 100% most definitely the ancient writers of the Bible believed that when you got ill, it was because of bad air, and they believed that the spirit was air. I mean, that's clearly it was the breath of life, and there's I mean, I think it's pretty clear that they thought that spirits lived in the air, and that you could take in bad air with demons and those things. I think there's a really good case for that. And there's a lot of imagery about wash your sins away and wash away this and that. And so to incorporate water in it, just because of the way that rituals were done, wasn't that, it wasn't a big thing. It was expected even. And
Right.
I don't know. It's a really bad argument.
Yeah, they're looking for patterns. That's it. They're finding patterns and then just applying them to today, and retrofitting it. It's just like.
So Amber said, and this is from the Ray Comfort, 10 scientific facts found in the Bible. The Bible knew about germs. That's what it said. That's why it says to wash under running water. So Jesus says, don't wash because we're different from the other Israelites. Yeah. And it, again, almost anything in the Bible that tells you how to do something or tells you any detail about anything, you can go and find, usually within a few pages, a contradiction to that. And it's this way for almost every claim the Bible makes. Like, they make the claim here, and then later it doesn't apply.
Right. Well, and why didn't we know then about germs before we knew about germs? Like that's what kills me.
Why did it take till the mid 20th century?
They waited for science. They knew about it, but they just waited till the science proved it to actually do something about it. Like, what the fuck? Come on, man. How stupid.
Yeah. And one of my favorite terms is post hoc rationalization. Yes. And this is the bread and butter of apologists. This is I'm going to take this and rationalize it backwards into this. And see, they knew about germs, after we learn about germs. And, it's like.
Yeah, because they're just making it up after the fact.
Yeah,
you're just right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, this goes back to the foundation, right? I mean, I think that Jesus, I'm not going to say anything about whether he actually existed or not. I'm kind of leaning towards he didn't. But that aside, let's say that he did and I don't think it matters, honestly. But let's say that he did. It's the same thing. They were like, oh, well, this guy, we're going to follow this guy. We need to make those prophecies seem like the prophecies that the Jews think are prophecies anyway. We need to make all that stuff fit Jesus after the fact. And you can tell that's the case by the way it's written, like because it doesn't make sense sometimes, and you're like, you can tell that they've applied it after the fact. And Christians hate when you say that.
He was like born in Bethlehem, but he had to like be from Nazareth, but then he had to like do the, it was just like all, and it literally says because like, and that fulfills the prophecy. It literally says it, and it's like, and it used to kill me when I was in growing up, because I remember thinking this even just as a little kid. Of course, it was just like a fleeting thought that I was told not to question, but I remember being like, couldn't they read the Old Testament when they were writing the New Testament? Because like they're like, how would they possibly know about these prophecies? And like they could just read the old stuff and then write down the new stuff. What do you mean? Like, how do they know? Well, I don't get. It's absurd.
Yeah, I'm. I've got this. Because how to explain this? It's kind of a weird situation because like the people who are like members on my channel and stuff, the people who have like supported my channel from the beginning and things, they're not just members. Like Azho was like one of the first couple people to join my Patreon. Robin was literally the first one to join my Patreon. And I talk to these people on a regular basis. Like I text them and call them, and they're like my friends, and I associate with them outside of YouTube. And I like to be like the people who actually support the channel and things. Now, like if it grows, of course, like if I have 100 members, I'm not going to be able to talk with everybody, but I try to. But I've been trying to think of like what to do as members only content, because I feel like, if I wanted to make a video about some point in Christianity, I would feel silly talking to my members that way, because it would be a performance type thing, and I don't want to like perform like a trained monkey for them, you know. So I've been thinking about like taking different parts of the, like doing some kind of series for members where taking different parts of the Bible and really like saying what Christians thinks it means, what I think it means, what scholars think it means, and go on a deep dive into each of these subjects in little short videos and stuff for members. And I haven't been able to figure out how to cover the Bible in that way yet, or do a regular like Bible show and then go into detail for members. I'm still learning how to do this whole YouTube thing, and
I was hoping for a swimsuit calendar of Joe. I guess that's not happening.
I've got a picture of me wearing a bra somewhere.
Better. That's even better.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Sorry. I might have to go brush my teeth.
We're not going to post that today.
I'll just AI one. What are you doing, buddy?
There you go.
But the reason I'm saying that, though, is because, like, I want to, these things we're talking about, like in the Bible, how it completely contradicts this, or how they've rationalized it to mean something it didn't. I think I would like to cover some of that stuff more in depth, but I don't know how to approach it with the current way that I do things. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to expand, you know, like how to grow and how to make better, higher quality stuff for people. So that's, you know, because I mean, when you have a YouTube channel, it's a weird thing, because it's like, you have to get that in front of the eyes of people to be effective at what you're trying to do. But in order to do that, you kind of have to, you know, at least embrace the algorithm somewhat. And so there's this side of it where you have to like promote yourself and plug yourself and talk to other people that have fans so they can find you. And there's like this side of it where you have to do the business end of it, even if that's not what it's about. Like, and so it's this weird balancing act where I want to make things that people want to see, but at the same time, I don't want to be a trained monkey. I don't want to just be on here repeating the same old shit that, you know, whoever talked about there. You know, here the other day, there was like 3 or 4 different channels that covered the same exact atheist, or what was that thing as the theist wheel or the atheist wheel that had all the different types of atheists, and it was fucking silly as fuck. And every one of them was a straw man. Like,
yeah.
And it was something excellent to cover, but I just feel like, okay, I've watched 4 videos about it now. Like, you know, everybody jumped on it and was like, this fits the thing that I do, you know? And
I know Scarlett had 4 parts to hers. She did it, but Brandon did it. And
I'm not down. Every single one that I watched did an excellent job, you know, covering it and pointing out the problems with it. I mean, don't get me wrong. They all made excellent videos on it. Everybody that covered it that I watched anyway did an excellent job covering it. And I enjoyed it. It's just, I try to,
answer, buddy.
I like to go to the beat of my own drum, you know, like, I don't necessarily follow what others do. And I don't do this in the conventional way. Like, you know, I come on here and say whatever I want. You know, I went on Neil the 604 Atheist to tell my deconversion story, and everybody likes to hear deconversion stories. I like to hear deconversion stories, but I feel like there's more to Brentley than he used to be a Christian and deconverted. I think your story is interesting and great, but I want to know you,
right?
Not just your story. And I know that's part of it. I get it, but I kind of leave it out there as an implied thing that somebody else will do that. And then I'll just come and have a good time talking to you. You know?
No, I feel you though, because I feel like it's you know, like you said, it gets kind of oversaturated at times. That's why I feel like most of like what makes really good content in my mind is for people to figure out a niche that is specific to them, and then just like stick on that niche. And then if you want to like side venture to like, oh, here's a news story that stuck out to me or whatever, and here's my opinion on it. But like I feel like for my show, I really like just doing improv while I'm reacting to stuff.
Yeah,
and doing little bits and stuff like that. I want it to sound like a stand-up comedy set that's completely improv while I'm watching Ray Comfort or something like that. That's like, that's my goal. And I feel like I've gotten there sometimes. Other times I'm off my game. It's not too great. But like, because I feel like that's not really something that I see too often. So that's like exactly what you're saying. I feel like it's a, you want to find something that you don't see really, and then do that. You know what I mean? That's my, sake on it.
Yeah. Ember said, maybe it's just me, but I don't get the impression members only content attracts or keeps members. People join to support what you do regularly, so I use it as a thank you kind of thing. And just so you know, Ember, I'm heavily taking inspiration for how you handle members and stuff. If you haven't noticed this thing going across the screen down here, and I agree, I agree with what you're saying, because a lot of people, and whenever I first started getting members, I was like, oh, you got to say the thing that all YouTubers say. And, I didn't, I don't want to, I got responses from people saying, hey, I just became a member to support the channel, and what you do. And I like you and what you do. And so I don't care if you make any members content, I'm going to support your channel. And that got me thinking about doing things that are more personal, like just, I try to have Google Meets and stuff for anybody to come talk and bullshit and whatever. And I try to, like, we're going to do the trivia thing, which is nothing about atheism at all, and not just members. It's, everybody. But to kind of, because I'm all about the community. Like, this is my social life, and I enjoy it being my social life. I like talking to people and meeting people, and it's just something, I have to get on the internet to do it, because everybody around me is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
and
I get that. Trust me. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like, these are mostly my friends. I don't really go out anymore. Like I used to, but like I don't do drugs and drink anymore. So it's like I don't, it's just not as fun. I just kind of, I have more. The fun thing about doing drugs and drinking was what I'm doing on the show, which is the hanging out aspect of it, the fun, goofing her off, having fun, and you don't need that stuff to do it, but when other people are doing it, it's just not as fun. I don't know. Drunk people now, I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's a hard time hanging out.
No, I agree completely, and that's probably why I enjoy watching your stuff, is because it's that kind of engagement. You're not just explaining something, or not just reacting to something. You're doing it with the community, as part of the community, not talking to the community necessarily. And I like that kind of thing. Like, I go on there, if I comment on something, you're like, oh yeah, hey, he said this, I agree. It's a good way to discuss these things. And especially if there's anybody who's struggling with any aspect of it, to have like-minded people gathered in one place where you can discuss these issues is, I mean, it may go as far as to call it life-saving, even, because in some cases I think it is. So I really like that aspect. And that's why, I'm trying to get, if I ever get through all the material I need to, I'm trying to work with recovering from religion, because that's the kind of thing, that's what I care about. And I guess, I don't know, I guess I'm attracted to channels where I can tell that's that's part of their thinking, at least it's considered. And because there's some that it's not, and it's not, I still appreciate what those guys do. And they're making a difference in their own way. It's just not my approach is all. And that's fine.
Yeah. Takes a village, it takes a toll.
Exactly. If everybody was dependent on one, like, let's take The Line, for example, which is more than one show. It's a lot of people doing a lot of different things and all that. But let's say we only decided to embrace the perspective that they take, even though they're absolutely right in most cases. It's hard to make that much content and not let some bias and some of your thoughts and feelings, get into it, which you should. That's what makes a good creator, somebody who can be themselves and has that passion and feeling. So, but we need those multiple perspectives in order to really assess any question. It's always, you don't necessarily have to take on every perspective, but it's to understand that there are those perspectives. And I think that makes us stronger, and that's part of normalizing atheism, which needs to be kicked into overdrive, especially right now. All my life growing up, until I was an adult, if you said the word atheist, I associated that with Satan worshiper. That's what I was taught. I mean, if we found dog bones or cat bones laying anywhere around town, it was because the Satan worshipers had sacrificed a dog. I mean, that's what you were, and it's not, that wasn't my assumption. That's what I was told. If you found a dog carcass up there, don't be hanging out up there. That's where them Satan worshipers have been hanging out.
Unless there's a Chinese restaurant near.
And let me be clear, none of this shit ever happened. It never happened. Not once.
There isn't just witches and people just casting spells and sacrificing goats down the street. This is not what's happening.
Yeah,
that's the witch is like the lady burning sage. That's it. That's as far as you can get. That's going to be trying to sell you essential oils or some shit. That's the witch that actually exists.
It has that feel to it, doesn't it? It has like an MLM feel.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. You're not getting like these pointy hat and green ladies just fucking casting spells. Like they thought that though. That's the type of stuff they used to say.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was told, don't be hanging out down there in the woods at the end of the street. There's a group of Satan worshipers that go up there, and who knows, they're probably up there doing drugs and having orgies, and the things I was told was ridiculous. And it not just like the bad things about, like, first of all, the horrible job they did even teaching Christianity as it is was horrible to begin with. But on top of that, it's all the nuance surrounding it that I was taught that is wrong. Like, being taught that, just like the Satan worshiper thing, and that people who are atheists or well, not atheists, that wasn't the word. It was never even, I don't think it was ever brought up that people didn't believe in God. It's just they worship Satan, which requires that you believe in God exists anyway.
It's sort of
not necessarily, but most do.
I mean, as a Christian, even being, anytime anybody would say something, say, that they say or Satanist, you automatically presume that they worship Satan. After becoming an atheist, I found out what Satanists are. I mean, right? I belong to the Satanic Temple. And 90%, if not more, people don't believe in Satan that are, Satanists per se.
Right.
Yeah.
The Satanic temples. That's not
a counter to theism. Yeah. Just look at the 7 tenets, that we follow or that they follow, kind of.
Yeah. It's almost like a troll religion.
Right, and that's what it is. Just become a 401 or 50, whatever.
Did you see they're trying to make a law in where is it? Is it Oklahoma? I forget which state it is, but only
it's in the Midwest. Yeah,
only theistic religions that are to be recognized as tax exempt religions. Only ones that believe in a god, and it's a way to try and exclude the Satanic temples. What they're trying to do, but they're just going to end up getting sued.
Right?
Yeah, because there's other non-theistic, like isn't Buddhists like non-theistic technically?
Yeah, we got people starving, homeless, that are sick, and we're going to spend tax money on fighting, or even the politicians' time on this nonsense just to try to block something, and it's going to be overturned anyway eventually if they did get it passed. But to me, it's just a waste of resources. That's all it is.
Yeah. Right.
Just to show that my God has a bigger dick than your non-God.
Because they get mad that like other religions are allowed to exist and be on equal footing with theirs. You know, that's the thing that they hate so much.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what
it could be Islam, not necessarily even the Satanist club that they'd be fighting. You know, or the Hindus, or
this one true religion thing, and it's like, okay, you know, they say that too, right? Like they believe the same thing you do, just a different person, and like, so what makes you more? And theists seem like they're incapable of even considering that perspective, that somebody might believe that what they're saying is not true. Like they can't even. And you know, you see that because how many times have you been told atheists don't exist? You know, like there's
God doesn't believe in atheists.
What is it? God. Is it Romans 1 or 20? I can't remember the exact verse. Jimmy or Ember will post it here in a minute, I'm sure. But that they always go to say that, oh no, you have knowledge that God exists. You just like to sin, or you just hate God, or
it's written on your heart.
Like it's written on. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
And if you're gonna say something like that, this is one of those times where, like, I think a little bit of philosophy and logical thinking should be applied, because if I know that this tri-omni being exists, and I think that actually is true, but yet I want to sin, what would be the need? Like, I could just sin. What would be the need in saying that God doesn't exist in order to do it? Like, I don't. It seems like there's a non sequitur in there somewhere. Like,
you could say what I used to say. It was just be like, yeah, I believe in God and I'm a Christian. I'm just not living it right now. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. Like I used to say that when I, it's like I was sinning, and doing all this stuff, but I still believed in God. I still was a Christian. I just was like, I'm just not living it really well right now. That's all. I'm struggling.
Yeah. So one of my early answers, whenever I first would openly say, like, I don't believe in that God for sure, is what I said. Like, I don't believe that's true, talking about the Bible. Whenever I first took that position, my answer was always that I just don't believe that that's true. And they would say, well, what if you're wrong? That's, the thing. What if you're wrong? You get tortured for an eternity, which is crazy to begin with. But my answer to that was, I'm going to hell anyway. If you're right, I'm still going to hell. Like, I'm definitely going to hell if you're right.
Right.
Like, because, I all those things that's on that list, I've done most of those, like quite often. It's like this idea that, okay, well, as long as I say I'm sorry and I mean it, I still get to go to eternal bliss, which doesn't sound that blissful, really. Like anything awful. For an eternity is going to be like bad, and it's a good thing we die, because an eternity isn't something you want. It's an eternity of anything is going to be bad. And
Lestat's always miserable. He always says how miserable he is, because he just can't die. It just sucks. He just keep going.
It's like streets of gold and all this shit. It's like, okay, that's impressive for a minute, but like,
can you spend it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you spend it? You go grab a brick and down to the store. Like, what the hell's the point of this?
And actually it's neat that you bring that up, because if you consider all of the gold imagery that is in Christianity, especially with the Catholics, like, I don't know how familiar you are with Catholic rituals and stuff, but they set out whole big tables of gold shit, and it's gold everything, because those ancient idiots in the desert thought that God liked gold too, because it was valuable.
Why would God? Okay.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Why? But
he can spend it. He has it's like, he's one of those gold standard type guys. You know what I mean? He needs to bury it in the backyard to make sure he doesn't lose his retirement money.
I mean, is God making streets of gold to impress people? Is he like, does he have like a insecurity we need to talk about? Like, I mean,
what? Yeah, exactly. What is it? Like,
yeah,
it's funny.
It's. I've already scripted and done the audio for the video. I've been doing this for weeks and haven't put out this damn video. I don't know. I'm just too lazy to do scripted videos anymore.
The last one I tried to do it and it just ended. I mean, I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do it this way because
hopefully
not. Yeah,
for the sake of the channel, hopefully I get better at talking to people. So
right, just do a bunch, do as many streams as you can. That's how I did it.
Yeah,
I suck.
And hopefully get a better sound card.
We'll start putting some filters on here and stuff. What I'm talking about in that video is how the description of hell in the Bible doesn't match the modern description of hell, and the Bible doesn't say all those things that people think hell is, and it doesn't really, it doesn't speak of it very much at all. Period. And it's when it doesn't say anything about an eternity of burning in hell, and that it doesn't say any of that. It talks about hell. It doesn't even really talk about hell as a place. There's only like 1 or 2 sentences in the Bible that talks about hell being an actual place. It's more often just described as a separation from God or annihilation or like that. And it's weird because the description of heaven in the Bible is kind of the same. Like it's not really described, but they do say it's in a place that we know it isn't. And
right.
but it's
because wasn't hell like added later? Wasn't that like I mean, because the Jewish people don't believe in hell, right? So that wasn't an Old Testament thing, right?
So the Jewish people use the word Sheol, and
and
it comes. Yeah, well, that's New Testament. That's Jesus. The Old Testament uses Sheol, and it comes up about 65 times, but it doesn't. They never refer to it as an actual place. It's like it can be translated as to mean the grave, the pit, death. And then a couple times it's used and it's translated as hell. But it's not. It's very poorly defined, and there's only they mention Sheol, but there's only one place that actually describes anything about it, and it's a couple sentences. And so.
That's fascinating. I had no idea. Yeah, I'd always just heard that it was like hell was like applied way later or something. And the devil too. I heard the devil was like applied later or something. Like it was just the serpent and it was the adversary.
Well, that's why I encourage
fit.
Sorry about that, Punk. That's why I suggest anybody compare the Judaism versus Christianity, because Christianity is nothing more than a bastardized version of Judaism, and what the hell for Jews is nothing more than like a purgatory. This is where the Catholics get their purgatory. The Jews feel or believe that if you don't make it into whatever the next life is, you go to purgatory where you pretty much cleanse yourself, come out, and you're all all roses. But it's not a torment sort of thing.
That's like where you go.
They don't believe in original sin. Satan is nothing more than the accuser, where you'll find in the book of Job, nothing more.
See, purgatory is like where you go when you don't pass the test, and you got to do your refresher course, and then and then you can go.
Now Jesus talks about hell more than any other single person in the Bible, and he says that. Now we know that Jesus talked in metaphors, and the character of Jesus talked in metaphors and symbolism and parables in the Bible. So he says that hell is Gehenna, which is there's speculation that the Valley of Gehenna was used to like burn trash and throw out their waste, and it was this nasty place and smelled of sulfur and burnt, all day and all night. But that's only speculation. It seems like the real thing that he's referring to here is the historical meaning of the Valley of Gehenna, which is where people went to worship their pagan gods or whatever gods, and they did sacrifices and stuff. And there were human sacrifices that took place in the Valley of Gehenna. So it seems like he's referring to that, to me anyway. And that, I mean, when I really because I read up on this part pretty good, and it seems to me like the trash burning part, because apologists have put that in there to compare it to the fiery burning hell, but I don't even think that's what he's talking about. I'm pretty sure he's referring to the historical thing, because the reason he's talking in metaphor there is because the Valley of Gehenna is right outside of the city, right? It's a place you could walk to in a short amount of time. So it gives that emotional response to a place that they know that's right there. It's not some mysterious, invisible place. And I think that I think that the way they wrote it, it was an excellent metaphor to write it that way. But it doesn't really tell you anything. It just compares it to some other place. And this goes into the whole thing of religion. Part of it is to convince you that you'll be rewarded, but a bigger part of it is to convince you that you'll be punished if you don't listen. And I think that it's just a way to make people feel shameful about their history, and goes back to how the sins of the father do actually pass on to the son, the way the Bible talks about.
Because I always wondered too. I was just thinking the other night, like why, if Jesus did exist, like you were saying, and I'm on the fence there too. But like, what was the big deal? Like, you know what I mean? But I think I'm almost wondering, like, what if he was like one of the first group, like few people or whatever, that figured out how to brainwash people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think what you were just saying, like the saying like, hey, believe the thing I want you to believe, and then you'll get to go to a magical amusement park after you die. If you don't believe the thing that I want you to believe, then you'll be tortured for all eternity in a really bad place. Now, you can't check or anything. It's after you die. But just do it. Just think the thing I want you to think. Do it. Think it.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what the fuck? I got to now. What are you talking about? I want the good thing and not the bad thing. Hey, everybody, we got to do this thing. Guys, come over here. Like, that's just, and I wonder if that was like the first time that happened, because we see like even just with our modern history, like all the cults, you can see how easy people can get, brainwashed, and now we got the internet. People are doing it to them fucking selves. It's crazy. We call it radicalizing them, but it's just brainwashing yourself,
Yeah. It seems like one of the flaws with humans is that having the brain that we have that's capable of the range of emotions and empathy and all that, which I ain't going to get into, but like having a brain that does that, it seems like a side effect of that is that, we are impressionable to believe things that aren't necessarily true. And we're even impressionable to believe things that are evidently not true. And that seems to be the bigger problem there. And it's like, that's one of those things I refer to, and I'll call it leftover monkey shit, although that's not right. And it's a horrible way to explain it if you're actually trying to inform anyone of anything. Like it's, I call it that because it's like the consequence of being able to do these more advanced things is that we have to be able to believe, in the unlikely sometimes. But people figured out that they could control groups of people by taking advantage of that, and not just convincing them of the unlikely and giving them hope, but to actually convince them of the thing that was not evidently true. And the more consequence and or reward that they could put on that thing, the more that people were going to sit and listen to them preach about it all day and drive it into their head to where they actually did believe it. So I think humans kind of crave that structure and master or all powerful master. Like I think they kind of crave and want it. It makes them feel fuzzy inside or something. There's a weird thing there, and I blame evolution, but at the same time, think evolution.
Right. I think it's the simplicity. Like a lot of time, like our brains like use a lot of energy, and our brains aren't really meant to have to deal with everything that we make. Especially with the internet. We're like talking about like wars that are happening on the other side of the planet. Like this is all too much for most of our brains. So it's and trying to navigate all these different things all the time. It's a lot. So what we do is we simplify, and like it's actually kind of comfortable to simplify. And if you can stop making decisions, that saves a shitload of energy that your brain now doesn't have to do, because all your decisions are already made for you. So if and I think that's kind of the allure a lot of times of cults and stuff like that as well.
I agree. The that awe of it all is part of it. I should have done this a little bit ago, but I'll tell for the people that are left in chat, if anybody's got any questions or anything they want to ask, post them, or if anybody wants to come on briefly and say if you've got something to actually say, because if not, I'm probably going to wrap it up here soon. But if anybody wants to come on and say anything other than Daniel, he's not allowed on right now. I'm still thinking about him. And
Earl can't either. She hasn't got her head covering on.
Oh yeah.
Daniel's in the chat.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
He just popped up on mine. I must be behind. Hey Daniel.
But and also, hey Daniel, you need to lock the video, okay? Everybody click the like button for me. That helps out a lot. And I don't, if you want to become a member, we got it, and whatever, and all that other stuff, Patreon, all that junk's in the description for anybody that gives a shit. But like the video, that's helpful.
Yeah, just in case we get a lot of questions and a lot of people popping in here, Brentley, I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
especially in such short notice. I figured it'd be a couple of weeks when I asked you, or me and Joe were talking about it, and I said, hey, I've got them all over that Creighton, whatever that medication is that you're telling me about. So I got him on my Facebook. I've got him in DC. I got this boy in lockdown. He ain't getting away from me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming on, and I purposely didn't interact with you before we did this so that we could have a good conversation. I didn't want to know too much beforehand, so it would go where it went. But yeah, so I wasn't just avoiding you or anything.
I was wondering because what the fuck now? I'm just
yeah, I was, because you didn't know about Bigfoot. If you're not a Bigfoot-tarian, I don't want to talk to you. Hell Bigfoot, by the way.
You hadn't said hell Bigfoot yet, so
hail Bigfoot. That's right. It's backwards. I'm sorry. There, hail Bigfoot.
But no, thanks for coming though, and I think we had a pretty cool conversation. I liked our talk. It was interesting, and we still had some information in there, and talked about a wide array of things. What are you got any future plans or anything coming up, man?
Well, I mean, it seems like the Ray Comfort videos are what are kind of taken off the most. So I'm probably going to be trying to do a bit more of those, which they are really fun.
You're going to do Cat Girl.
And Cat
She's
Girl.
Your girl.
Those are the two. Cat Girl and Ray Comfort. Everybody's like, yeah. So yeah,
actually, I've got two of them. I've got two Ray Comfort videos.
And anytime you want to come on, Punk, and I'm stepping over Joe, I know that. Anytime you want to come on and to review, Cat Curve videos or any kind of nonsense. Matter of fact, I gave Joe 3 of them the other day from the same kid. It's just like a script, reading through it, and it's just like, oh, I want to tear that apart so bad. But if you ever get bored and want to do something, just how to get a hold of Joe now, and vice versa. Joe knows how to get a hold of you.
And the best way to contact me personally is to message me on Discord. That's or on my Twitter. You can message me there too. But the best way is Discord. That's how I communicate with most people of the atheist community. I keep it separate from my personal stuff. So just
cool.
But yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me. The Matters Now thing. I Killed Earl. I'm sorry, I'm super stoned. I Killed Earl posted it a minute ago. Or earlier, it wasn't a minute. It was a couple hours
me off
ago.
with this getting stoned bullshit because I can't smoke yet. And mine's actually medical, not just for joy.
I'll do my regular live stream next Sunday, and again, I'm not sure. I haven't been able to confirm who's coming yet, but you know, I think it's what I said earlier. I'm not gonna name drop again here in case it's not. But
and Daniel, I got Satan. That's all I need. Anyway,
8
all hail Satan.
Yeah,
8 p.m. Matters Now. I'll do that show next Sunday, but I'll still do my show at 2. So
do the horns.
I'll be on there plenty.
Oh, actually, I didn't. You see my shirt?
There you
go. Halloween thing, but it's still. It's. You go,
yes,
girl.
I love that. I thought about putting that on a shirt.
That's awesome.
The also, yeah, I want to plug Robin going on Neil the 604 Atheist on the 18th. Everybody go watch that. Robin is that'll probably be a really, really good video. I think Robin's got a pretty good story, and she does so much that she can talk about a lot of things that about the community and stuff. So I think that's going to be awesome. I think. Are you going to go on there, Azho?
Oh, what's on Neil's?
Yeah.
I've been on, I mean, even though I'm on here, I don't feel like I'm on here, if that makes sense. I'm the furniture. And a good example is, and I'm not complaining whatsoever because I like kind of being in the background, is Assembly of God says that, oh, wrong one. That's the one. No, it's the right person. But great stream at Kentucky Atheist and Punk Apostate. Keep it real. I'm fucking furniture. It don't matter what I do. My name never gets brought up.
You're the moderator,
man. I'm just giving everybody hell, but it's kind of like my point, though, because I've done Nara. I did my story with Nara. I loved it. He did a great job as an interviewer. I went back and re-looked at it with a buddy of mine in real life, sort of thing. And there's so many things that he brought up, and he's a Christian. He's like, damn, you should have brought this up and this up. And it's like, yeah, it's just, and I purposely didn't prepare for it because I wanted it more natural. And then to go on to Neil's, nothing against Neil. I love what Neil does. And be the focus of a show. I probably will, but it's just hard to go from being furniture to, the van.
You don't realize it as, because like it's like, I don't know. You don't realize it, but you've interacted with so many different creators and been a part of the community that parts of your story actually are interesting and helpful to other people, because you've successfully navigated, the YouTube algorithms and things, and found a group of people that you enjoy talking to, and that you've gained a lot of knowledge from and stuff. And that story, even though you think there's not really much to it and stuff, it's a good story. I mean,
no, I'm not my story, because I just said this the other day when I was talking to, who was it we were talking to, that it's not so much, whether you think your story is a good story or not. There's always that one person out there that can relate to parts of the story or the whole story. It was Will. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And I'd love to have him back on too, to be honest.
Yeah,
but to me, it's like being up front and center. But that's why I said I'll probably do it, because I like Neil, and I want to be on the after. I mean, to me, that's kind of on my bucket list. Not a smoke on the after show. All you fucking stone motherfuckers that were on there the last time is like, all right, because I smoke because I take a chemo pill, but I haven't been able to because I found out I'm allergic to it, and I get congestion, and they're trying to figure out why. So I'm on Flonase now and Claritin D, and I haven't tried to smoke since then. And plus the guy that I get it from is on vacation. So it's like, but mine's purely medical. I mean, I do enjoy the side effects, I'm not going to lie, but without it, I can't sleep. Without it, I had trouble with nausea real bad. I've had part of my colon removed, part of my small bowel removed. the tumor I have now is wrapped around, what bowels I've got left. And it does make me nauseous. I've got short gut syndrome. So my nausea pills don't work. I mean, my painkillers don't work. And then I end up having to go to the ER to either get fluids, painkiller, and, a shot of, what is it that? The shit for Phenergan for the nausea. And I feel great, half hour later, sort of thing. And I'm not trying to defend, or say that anything's wrong with recreational. I did that too back in the day. But when you're, battling cancer, there's things you don't do as much as you would like to, like drinking. Drinking and chemo pills and the other 15 pills I'm on, just a lot of them don't mix. I have demons. Yes, I do. I exercise them every day, and I talk to them.
Jesus.
I still believe God. If it wasn't for those demons, I'd have nobody to talk to at home because I'm alone, or so I've heard. But anyway, I had to take a shot. Anyway,
have you guys ever witnessed somebody removing demons from someone? Like personally?
No, if I ever did, the only thing I've done Pentecostal that I've seen is my dad's dad. Well, my step grandfather. Literally, he started the Word of Faith church here in Crawfordsville before they decided it was evil. But we had a 400 head calf barn, and he was over there with oil anointing the cow to try to raise it from the dead. And I'm looking at this guy, said, that cow's been dead for 4 days. Well, God can do it. I'm thinking, yeah, God.
He only does 3. It's only 3 though.
That motherfucker
like Jonah and the whale. Or actually, the big fish wasn't a whale; it was a big fish.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, which is another tangent that it's probably a video in itself of how Christians, don't take responsibility for themselves, blame it on Satan, and everything's demon. Ouija boards, demon. Tarot cards, demon.
I have my own theory.
Demon, and I don't care what they say. Ain't nothing about demons. There's some hot girls in there.
Yeah,
I guess that's that. Just
no. Okay.
That's the tangent for the day. Usually, the queen of tangents there, Joe.
I have here. I'll help you. I have an interesting thought about that. Like, I think the accountability issue that comes up with putting all your trust and faith in God, to where it's like, not only do you need to be accountable whenever you've done something, bad or wrong or immoral or however you want to put it, something negative, but you need to be accountable for the good things that you've done too, for your own good. And if you look at something like Psychology Today journal, they'll tell you that it's actually, people who believe in gods and things are actually happier and healthier and all this. Not like I'm saying just healthier as far as the way they think.
But it's not leaps and bounds over an atheist anyway. Just a small amount, even. I mean,
don't get me wrong. There's competing, papers as well, but they say this, but I think a big flaw of that is accountability, because if you think that God is accountable for everything you do and everything that happens to you, whether it's good or bad, I think that you kind of lose out on personal achievement, right. Depending on how far you go with it, of course. I'm not saying, every person.
Well, but even like with me, when I graduated, college the first time, just like when you watch a sporting event, what do they all do? Thank God, thank the Lord above, blah 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 blah. And they take away from the achievement, because I studied my ass off in school to get where I did. I mean, I wasn't 4.0, but I was 3.75-ish probably, which is still an A, B plus. But I did that on my damn self, and I realized that now as an atheist. Back then, I gave all the glory to God.
Right there it is.
I blame Satan on Punk's stream. That's nothing to glorify God.
Yeah.
He's one of my demons I need to exorcise.
So the Punk Apostate's YouTube channel is under his name there, at Punk Apostate, but it's also in the description, and it's also in the chat. There's an actual link in the chat. So there's a few different people can find him. I wanted to make sure people can find you. There's that's that's kind of the, you have somebody on, let them know where to find them. I'm bad enough about
at least let them talk for a while
and tag people. If I don't go tag the people from the stream, like right at the end of the stream, then I end up not doing it. And it's just because I forget. Somebody sent me a message criticizing me about not putting sources, even though I name them in the video, not putting them in the description. And I was like, well,
Daniel, you are so far off. There is always a reason to be proud. I can name one thing right off the bat, and if you tell me you weren't proud when your son was born or your children were born, I'll call you a flyer.
But you're misunderstanding though, Azho, because he's got a fundamentally different idea.
No, I understand that.
He's responsible for it. He thinks that God is, no matter what happens, God's the ones that's responsible.
Oh no, I realize that.
Grateful, not proud.
Presupposing that either the Bible is true or God is real.
Right.
Yeah. So
you can't.
There's
Anyway, go back to Punk. Sorry,
you're right. You're absolutely right. But I'm just saying, like under that under that idea, like you can't, and that's what I was getting at, is why it's such a fucked up thing, because you as a person who's been in recovery from drug addiction for several years, I've witnessed a lot of these programs and stuff that are faith-based programs where the people say it's only through the grace of God that I got off drugs. And it's like, no, man, you need to take accountability, because accountability is a big thing for a drug addict, because you've lost that, and you've got some flaws going on, and not being able to be accountable for your own actions is one of them. But it also applies to whenever you achieve something. If you got off drugs, you're the one that did that. Be accountable for the fact that you succeeded in doing that, and you're alive and here today to talk about it. And it wasn't anyone else; it was you. And you need to know that. That's important for your recovery and stuff. And
internalize it. You got to internalize that.
Right.
And be like, because I did this, I can actually do other things too.
It's okay to be proud of yourself. It's okay to have pride for something you did. I mean, I one of the best choices I ever made was, to try and get off drugs. And it's I'm here to talk about it, so it was successful, and I'm proud of myself for doing that, even if no one else is. And I don't care if they are, like that's the thing. And I think that religion robs you of that. Like it takes it and it doesn't make any sense either.
It hurts recovery, as far as I think. When they, and I don't even think it's just me thinking it. It's demonstrative at this point that AA and NA don't work well, because saying, hey, you just got to rely on Jesus more, doesn't help.
No.
Go to the medical science. No. Medical science helps. that's
there's a secular AA group on YouTube that Mike from Answers in Atheism does.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, it's
but they still. But just before you get started, just to try to clarify, because it's been a minute since but wasn't he talking that they replace God with? I forgot how he worded it. Just an entity in itself, not religious. But to me, that's still toxic.
Yeah.
You're the one that's doing it regardless.
I agree with you. I don't like the actual format of AA stuff. And if you look at what ASAM has to say about it, it's demonstrably less effective. It's any way you get better, do it. For any individual, like whatever works for you, do that. But I can tell you that when you look at evidence-based care, though, AA and NA has very, very, very low success rates, like in the single digits.
We have a lot of repeat, repeat customers, so to speak.
They keep coming.
Yeah, recidivism is and relapse is a big deal with that.
They get you to internalize that you're broken, that you can't do it.
Yeah,
Why would they sit there and tell you that you can't do it if they want you to get better? It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot out the gate.
They go with this idea that you're at your rock bottom, and then they want to try and tear you down even further, and then rebuild you in God's image. I mean, like, that's literally the I mean, that's actually what it's trying to do. I mean, you're broken and you're powerless to do anything.
Right.
So we're gonna take that apart, and we're gonna put all these like cult like quotes and stuff in your head just for today, and you know, like you're gonna repeat these things all the time and stuff. And I think that's kind of the idea, is that they tear you apart completely when you're at your worst, and then try to rebuild you. And it's almost like a brainwashing cult type way of handling it.
Well, dude, I get this. Like I like used almost a similar type of thing, but it was a book, right? And the book it's like How to Control Alcohol the Easy Way, right? And then there's a second book called The Fastest Way to Control Alcohol Guaranteed. And you don't quit drinking yet. You just start listening to the book. I feel like all addicts can listen to a book, and you don't have to do anything. Don't do anything yet. Just listen to the book. Yeah. You can't be drinking while you listen to the book, but do that during the day or whatever.
Yeah.
But just listening to that like programmed my brain out of it, and then I just
right.
It was wild.
You have to reteach yourself how to do things without that there, and by actually, practicing and doing that little thing, it was showing you how to focus on something else. The medication assisted treatment has the best success rates, but that doesn't mean it's for everybody. Some people it doesn't work for. A majority of people that try to get off drugs are unsuccessful. That's at least in their first attempt.
And like when it comes to with opiates and stuff, I'm like a book would never work with opiates. I don't think. Like you have to go to some chemical. It's too painful.
Yeah, the physical dependency part of opiates and benzos is a little different than alcohol too. I'll throw alcohol in that too, because there's a physical aspect of it that has to be addressed
when you get
when
you get over a certain once you get up to a certain level, absolutely.
I actually went to something
which is my guess. Like whenever you look at it that way, though, the mental aspect has to be handled, but so does the physical aspect sometimes, and that usually gets you in a medical place of some sort. If you're looking for help, somebody there's medically trained, and I think that's how medication assisted treatment, that's why it's evidence-based care, is because it's in an actual controlled setting with professionals who can say things that are fact,
Right. But the problem was when I went through detox for opiates like 3 times, I think. And the first 2 times I was a Christian. So I was sitting there going, nah, I hear what you're saying there, psychiatrist and everything. All I need is Jesus. Okay. I get what you're doing your talking thing. I just need Jesus. And so it didn't work over and over. Like the Jesus thing was the thing in the way of me recovering.
Yeah.
And I think that happens a lot. You know?
I agree. Did you ever have any therapist that told you, you did believe in God during it?
During the first 2 times. The third time I didn't, and then I was able to stop.
Did you have any therapists ever tell you that you needed to believe in God, that's what part of your problem was?
No, not really.
I mean, I've had some of those. Those are great.
They did require AA, and they did that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sucks, though.
Well, it's not illegal. It's unethical, and it may be malpractice. But yeah, I've had therapists tell me before that, like I wouldn't have this problem if I believed in God and whatever, and that I should consider faith and religion and not, all this stuff. And it's like, first of all, that's like, you're supposed to be there to help me. And that's kind of harmful. And I think there's a lot of therapists that engage in this. I've came across a few, so I know there's a lot more in bigger places,
Yeah. I mean, and religion in general seems to me to be bad for addiction, because it's like this life doesn't matter. Right. That's number one. Like, this is where you wipe your feet. So who cares? You're going to go to heaven anyway. Fuck this life, fuck it up, whatever. And the other thing is just believing that you're broken and that you can't do anything. And you can only do things through Jesus. Well, Jesus isn't real. So you can only do things through what you can do. And if you're already starting from the premise that you can't do anything, you've already lost before you've began. You know what I mean? Because if you believe that you can't do anything.
Right. You're exactly right.
Right.
What turned me off?
Hey, I always.
Let me just throw my 2 cents in there because I've been trying to say I've never been to. Well, I've actually been to AA and what NA, Narcotics Anonymous, but it was only because I was forced to go. But I did try in Indianapolis. They had, and this has been years ago, basically Smokers Anonymous. I'd never smoked, but I chewed, and I started chewing at 12 years old. Just quit January 29 or 2016. So for 42 years, I chewed tobacco. But anyway, I tried this. I went to 3 meetings. The guy's like, just try it. I said, no, I didn't have a good experience with NA or AA. And, well, just if you can go for 3, meetings, and give it a try, that's all I'm asking. I said, okay. All 3 meetings I felt when I walked out of there, and even had this one guy on the 3rd day come up to me and say, you ain't coming back, are you? I said, no, it's the same thing. But it was like you're saying, you're a bad person. And if you do complete, let's say you go smoke free or drug free or alcohol free the rest of your life, who gets the credit? Once again, all glory goes to God. But yet if you fail, Satan won and you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And after that, and how I ended up quitting chewing finally? My mindset. Oh, and getting ready. Well, I was already like 2 or 3 weeks into my chemo. And I kept hearing, oh, that'll really interfere, which it does. I found this out later on. But anyway, it was like I just lost my train of thought. I'm like, Joe, now I'm straight as an arrow. That's just the chemo for you. I had a great point to this, and now I fucked it up, and I'm going to hell. Oh, how I did it was just my mindset. I don't want to chew. I didn't worry about. Because I tried the nicotine patches, all that shit for years and never worked on me. And I just said to myself one day, this is enough. I'm either going to quit, smoking this time or chewing this time, or I'm just going to go ahead and say, fuck it. I'm going to chew the rest of my life. I've never, I do have. Yeah. So if anybody ever sees me, I do use it's artificial or not artificial. It's moist snuff alternative. No nicotine whatsoever. It's like herbs. There's one that I used to do was just mint. But the price is more expensive than most chews. But if I ever get that thing where, what's for me, quitting, just chewing alone was bad enough. But for me, it was the mental part because there's always something in my, in my lip. I was always spitting, carried a can. And so I tried the candy, I tried the lollipops, I tried gum, tried a pencil and toothpicks and all other sorts of things. And it don't work for me. But when I get to the point where, okay, I could probably use a chew, like especially a stressful day, I go to what's called back off. But it's, look it up. It's not tobacco. Okay. So it's like, I'm not giving glory to God for doing that. I'm not blaming Satan that I didn't do it because either I do it or fail on my own credit or merits, not anything else. So I can just imagine for those of you that went through NA or, AA or whatever the hell it is that, if you stayed, sober, kudos to you guys. Fuck God. Sorry, Daniel. That's how I feel. Screw anything else because, either you fail on your own or you make it through it on your own. Satan has nothing to do with this, and neither does God. Right. Unless you need that as your credit. But then,
and I do want to say too, I quit smoking too, and I used I had a similar type of method for quitting smoking, which is How to Quit Smoking the Easy Way, and I just listened to that book over and over. I listened to it like 3 times to quit.
Whatever it takes for anybody. If you need God for it, glory to God then. But the thing is when it comes down to it, you did it your damn self. Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's the way that those methods work is it unwinds the beliefs, because if a lot of times we believe that we need stuff for certain reasons and we think that those reasons are good reasons, and if you realize that those reasons aren't good reasons, then it's real easy to just kind of snap out of it. But that's how it was for me anyway. But
yeah, I don't know where you live, Daniel, but that's way the hell off. All you have to do is go to prison and find out who the real drug addicts are and who's got the numbers. But really, addiction doesn't care who you are, who you believe, what color you are, what sex you are, what kind of car you drive. It's going to fucking nail you. Why do you think there's so many sports stars, actors, singers,
I lived on the street for like over a year, and everybody I met that was drug addicts were all Christians. Man, you're just wrong. Because it primes you to get addicted, because it tells you you need something over and over and over again. Oh, I need Jesus. I need Jesus. I need Jesus. Well, when the Jesus thing doesn't pan out, guess what happens, man? You're off to like doing other things to try to cope, because you know what? You don't need anything to cope, but you've been brainwashed into believing you need Jesus to cope, and then that's real easy to switch from one cope to another. So you're just wrong.
And to me, that's what you're doing. You're switching, an addiction of drugs, alcohol, tobacco, sex, porn, for the guy wizard daddy.
The porn. Nobody gets
to me, that's the worst. Mental addiction is the worst there is.
Because they shame themselves around it, make themselves feel bad, and then it becomes an addiction when it wouldn't be. But only because you are shaming yourself about something that's so natural.
And every time I get on my little soapbox and preach, I always look for Earl. Make sure I did good. So I did good then. I hope I made you proud, Earl. And I'm kidding around, but I do love Earl's take on a lot of stuff. We may not agree on everything, but and we both like, what is that? Fatou buffet, even though I've got a fighter for it. Nothing wrong with that.
I don't like
I'm not gonna get tangent. It's about Punkster. Sorry.
I don't like the comment about, in my experience with atheists, it's rampant with drug users, addicts, and degenerates. I don't really care much for that.
Joe, that's a different show. This is about Punkster, unless Punkster wants to dive in.
I'm trying to.
I try to ignore it, and then I jump in there. I know, but then
I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm thinking about that.
So Daniel was a fisherman. He was a masturbator. Big deal.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you like degenerate? Is that just people that masturbate? Like, what is that? It's like,
that's all atheist.
let me say something real about this real quick though. If you had that addiction, Daniel, and you were able to escape it, whatever means you used to escape it, I'm not okay, great. Like whatever got you out of it.
Addiction, then it's an addiction too, I guess. But
good job doing that to get out of it. Now, like, that's just I'm glad that you beat it however you did it. But, I don't think that it was a healthy choice. Like I don't, and just because of your experience with it doesn't mean that it's evil.
I wonder how an atheist porn and drugs would do. I might find out.
See, they would say my porn.
You too.
Porn's the evil thing.
I'm gonna call you porn, and Joe's gonna be drugs. It's the porn and drug show.
That's so funny. Okay, man. No, yeah. Every time I go to church, there's a bunch of people hiding that they're doing a bunch of drugs, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they never admit it.
And I'm not glorifying drugs or porn, by the way, but if somebody chooses to watch it and do them, that's on them, as long as they're not harming anybody else. And I would wish they didn't harm themselves with either one. But they're adults. I'm not blaming it on Satan. I'm blaming it on their own poor choices. Been there, done that myself. So I'm talking from experience, and I'm 59, a little bit older than you, Daniel.
Let me, So like, I get that these things affect everybody, though. I mean, like, I understand that you probably did. That is your experience with atheists, Daniel. But the problem is that when you say it like that, it seems like what you're trying to do is generalize it to all atheists. And this is again the same problem that we had on Twitter. It's not necessarily that what you're saying is factually wrong. It's what you're trying to do with the words you're saying. It's the reason that you're saying those words, and that's what bothers me about this kind of stuff. And I'm not, I'm not trying to hate on you or anything, Daniel, right now, anyway.
Sorry,
but
I'm talking to my mom. Sorry.
That's my only comment about it, is just be careful about generalizing a whole group of people because of your individual experiences. And that's, I'm not mad and all that shit. I just want you to be careful of that. You're right. And I get you're not saying
we just proved Daniel's point.
You didn't say all atheists.
Well, and then the problem is,
I just want you to maybe whenever you say stuff, you need to make it clear though that you're not talking about all people in a group that you're discussing. That you're saying this is just what this individual.
Yeah,
you're just saying this is what this individual person did or experienced. Don't make that more clear. That way, it doesn't seem like you're doing that.
Right. Then that's why I made sure to say, like, when I responded, I was like, well, in my experience, all the people that were drug addicts were Christians. So now we got 2 anecdotes. How do we figure out, you know what I mean?
Right.
So just to be clear, because I don't think that
it's all Christian. It's not so much. What we should be saying, not so much it's atheists or Christians. What we need to be saying is, what can we do as a community? And I'm talking of human beings.
We're all humans. Yeah.
To rectify the situation, to make it better. Because I'll tell you what, regardless, if I see a person on the street, they need help, whether atheist, I mean, I wouldn't even know, because that's not the first question out of my mouth. I'm not saying it would be for you, Daniel. I'm just saying for me, I help the individual, being a humanist and a part naturalist, that I have concern for others' well-being. If I see somebody in a bad situation, I'm going to try to do what I can to help them in their religion, their, color of their skin, any of that bullshit is the last thing I worry about. If somebody gets hit by a car, I'm not going to go over there. Are you a theist? Oh, you are? Sorry about your luck. Pray to God. I'll be standing over here and waiting for you to die. And I know it's like sarcastic, but it's just nailing the point home that most people don't care what your religion is. If something happens, we need to figure a way out to make it better and to make society better as a whole, because we're living in a cesspool. Regardless if it's Republican, Democrat, it's a human problem, not a certain group's problem. And I'm back on my soapbox. Sorry. How do I do it?
I'm sorry. My partner is just signaling me that I gotta get running. But
I'm not going to. I'm going.
That's more than an hour and a half. Sorry about that, Punk, but I got on a roll.
No, it's all right. I had fun. It was fun. Yeah.
I address these things brought up in chat and stuff, but I so easily forget. There's a whole group of people in chat that know how to address that situation, and I should stay out of it.
No, you're doing
unless things go off the rails too bad,
And what's hell going to do, Daniel, for somebody who's starving to death and doesn't have a home now?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And to get into that, there's a big if statement that you put in there, Daniel. And when you're saying if something is true, then we need to assess.
Open your eyes, Joe.
Is it more likely? Yeah. Is it more likely true, or is it not true? Or is it more likely that it's not true? So what probably is the truth? And that's where you have to go with that. And if it doesn't seem like that's probably the truth, or it seems like that's probably not the truth, then no, you're not benefiting anybody. You're just
right. I think part of the problem is everybody looks long term. Well, you're going to go to hell or heaven. What about the here and now? That's more important. Whether there is a heaven or hell, why make this life hell?
Theists forget that so often. That for the atheists,
atheists do, to be honest, at times too. So
this is the most important thing to us. Because this is your only. All that will be left is whatever legacy, and how long will that last? Even if you're someone famous or whatever, what you do here and now with the life you have is what's more important to a person that doesn't believe in an afterlife. Yet Christians frame it as, we have no morals and we don't care about anything.
Okay, Daniel, but if there is a hell, which version of hell is real?
But you're going to go to Muslim hell, man. And they feed you.
Do you realize?
You know that? You got.
You're going to South Park hell where they shove a pineapple up your ass every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, well,
read the Quran. It says Christians get rotten fruit fed to them for all. They get tied to a tree and fed rotten fruit for all eternity. And if you're not afraid of that, then you should understand why we're not afraid of your shit.
Yeah. Same. Right. Yeah, it's the same thing. Very good response. Very good response.
Right.
Perfect.
What gets me is
I really do got to run though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Actually, can you take 2 minutes and let me close it out?
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've been going forever. I didn't even mean to go this long today, but
that's all right. I didn't notice until she was waiting.
But first of all, again, everybody like and subscribe, and thank you to my channel members and Patreon supporters. You guys are a huge help, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Punk Apostate, thank you so much for coming on. Brentley, your link is in the description and under your name there, and in the chat. There's an actual working link to it. That's where you can find him. Azho he's gonna be famous. I'm gonna make him famous eventually. I gotta make me famous first.
That's furniture.
But you're coming with me. You're coming with me.
That's job one. Yeah. And then we're all taking Azho.
Yeah.
All hoisting him up.
That's really all I got today. I got a bunch of stuff coming up next Sunday. I'll do my Sunday show at 2 p.m. and then I'll be on Matters Now at 8 p.m. to talk with those guys. Go check them out or whatever, and come see us. You got anything you want to say before we go, Brentley?
No, yeah. Just come hang out. It's every so often. Check out a stream. I do them in the morning. I know, I know sucks, but I'm gonna try to do them.
He doesn't do wake up calls. I've asked.
Yeah, I know, sorry. But yeah, if you want to catch a stream, but come check out the channel, Punk Apostate. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, buddy. You're brothers forever.
And Azho, you want to announce the trivia thing one more time before we go?
Yeah, just for everybody that wasn't here earlier, we're gonna and the times may vary. After the first one, we're just gonna see how it works. But Wednesday, this coming up Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're gonna do a trivia night, and yes, there probably will be a little bit of Bible trivia in there too, just for shits and giggles, and kind of being ironic, I guess. So if you're love trivia or just want to hang out and make fun of everybody, it's going to, hopefully it doesn't turn into, a religious or, any other sort of topic other than a bunch of people getting together having fun. Doesn't matter, what your belief system is, just as long as you believe the same as me. Otherwise, you're not going to win a card. No.
You're going to lose even if you get right.
Once Joe can open his eyes, he's supposed to make a thumbnail of that at some point. So it'll be out there on his channel. It will be on AH's channel too, by the way.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks Punk Apostate, Brentley for coming, and Azho, thanks for being the furniture. That's all I got today.
I'm gonna find some I Killed Earl trivia. She'll show up then, I bet.
Yeah. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody.